Test, 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 test. All right, we should be good. We should be good now. Good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. It's time to bloom this morning. It's time to bloom this morning. Go ahead, share my screen. Let you know what I'm seeing, what I'm looking for this morning. So we're looking at gold this morning, of course. Of course. You see, yesterday got this clean drop from all-time highs. Beautiful imbalance fill. So now I can delete that. Beautiful imbalance fill. Price playing in between these decision-making levels right now. Oops. Don't want to delete that. Remove that. I got stopped out, you see, $71. I got stopped out last night. Took a buy somewhere around here. This was my take profit area, but my stop loss was right around here. Somewhere right around. So I actually probably took my buy somewhere around here, actually. Somewhere around here. Stop loss was set on this decision-making level just below it. And that's where I got stopped out. So it happens. It happens. But super comfortable with that risk amount there. So what I'm waiting for this morning, we do have news at 8, but we won't run into news on this session. But what I'm looking for now is for price to move past this level here. And then I'd be looking to take something like this. Camera's not working. Yo,
I think your camera's up.
it's not on?
I don't think so. First off, good morning. But I think this is black on the YouTube.
Interesting. I can see myself. Oh, but can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, bet.
Yeah,
All right. Got to make sure the audio is working. All right. So yeah, this is what I'm looking for right now. Price to continue higher. Just where we are fundamentally. Like I'm even though we're in this risk on state, I've been taking this with a grain of salt. It's traditionally in risk off environments. That's where the gold demand has been high. But what we've been seeing as of late is even in this risk off and risk on environment, the risk on environment being present because of the lack of confidence in the US economically, the chaos that's been created geopolitically, and then just the devaluation of the DXY has driven this risk on narrative. Whenever the dollar is down, And I'm actually going to pull up my trading view so you know what I mean when I say the dollar is down. So whenever the dollar is down, I'll just share my entire screen. Whenever the dollar is down, gold traditionally falls. Gold traditionally rises, excuse me. And we see the dollar has been down bad. But like I said, it really hasn't been from data. It's been strictly from, the things going on in Venezuela, the Greenland, the tariffs, Canada and China potentially making deals, Trump threatening tariffs on Canada because of that. Like it's more geopolitics than macroeconomic data right now, which is what we're getting from the DXY this current time. I'm gonna stop doing that because I hate that it does that. But so yeah, that's kind of like the risk on, risk off narrative that I've observed, that I've been noticing within the markets. So gold, for good reason, has been just climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. Right. It's had some drops within that, but we can all agree, even if you have never traded before, right? You can agree that gold has been going upwards. Even if you don't even know what the candles mean, you can agree that this is moving upwards, right? And this is a long period of time, right? This is almost the entire month of January right here from this move. So ever since New Year's, right, to where we are now, it hasn't stopped. It's consolidated, briefly, but the overall trend is been upwards. And so I've really just been riding that. Um, one of the keys for us when we trade is to trade in alignment to the fundamentals, what the fundamentals are saying. And the fundamentals include macroeconomic data, geopolitics, market sentiment, right? How's the DXY moving? What are the yields like? Like just those fundamental factors. And then we have our technical indicators, our Ichimoku cloud, our MACD, to confirm our entry points. And then we have our decision-making levels to confirm our target areas and our invalidation areas, or our no trade areas. Like right now, I'm in a no trade zone. I'm in a no trade zone. This area right here, this would be a no trade zone for me. Just because the risk to reward is not high enough. Like, let's say my confirmations came in right now, which they are pretty close to being present. Right, that's about 12 points, $120. But in order for me to enter that, I have to have an area of invalidation. And my area of invalidation would most likely be that decision-making level, right? So that's 30 points. So I'm almost risking double and a half for what I'd be making, right? So right now I'm currently in a no trade area. If price were to just move within this area the entire rest of the day, I would not take a trade. And if I did take a trade, you would probably see me post in the community, I took a lesson today, because it always happens. It always happens when I go against my rules. I got smacked. Yesterday. What, yesterday? Yesterday, for going against my rules. Not my execution rules. Like, I followed my execution to a T, our VXT system, which is the Ichimoku cloud and the MACD. It was just my risk management, my area of invalidation. When price got to my area of invalidation, I was hopeful when I should have been fearful. I was hopeful that price would turn around, hopeful that we would go back to break even, hopeful that we would move to my profit target. But I should have been fearful that I could lose more, right? That's what should have happened, but I didn't. You live and you learn, and you live to trade another day. And so this is what I'm looking at. Like I said, we got, I don't think you guys can see my screen. You guys cannot see my screen. Um, but I'm looking at Forex Factory right now. Um, it's a lot easier for me to tell you about it versus just kind of like, oh wait, there's a button right here. Let's share this tab instead. Perfect. Um, so Tuesday, January 27th, President Trump speaks at 8. Actually, this changed. I saw this yesterday, and it said 12 p.m. So I'll see what time he's actually speaking today, because that can impact how I operate as long as I'm not executing while he's speaking. I do not need to get caught in the sporadic, enthusiastic price action that happens during speeches, whether it's Trump, whether it's Fed Powell. Typically, during those moments of time, prices very sporadic. It's up, it's down, it's left, it's right. Like it just has no clear direction, and very manipulative. And in my opinion, from my observations of many, many chart sessions while President Trump was speaking, or not president, Fed Chair Powell is speaking, those two specifically, um, I didn't really see that much of it. Like trying to think back to when Biden was in office, I didn't really see that much of it. Like in terms of that sporadic price nature, which is kind of interesting to think about. But anyways, this is kind of my curious brain being curious. So sorry. But then we got consumer confidence, and if you don't know what consumer confidence is, I don't know what CB is, but I'm assuming it's conference board. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that it is. But I could be wrong. But consumer confidence is just simply what it sounds like. One thing about trading, and be mindful of me. Like sometimes I do go down rabbit holes, but I think it's useful to go down some of these rabbit holes sometimes, to kind of bring the practical nature to trading. But one thing about trading is everything is as it seems. And what do I mean by that? Like there's no tricks in trading. Everything is very um obvious if you look for it, right? And so I say that because consumer confidence is exactly what it sounds like. The confidence consumers have in what? That's a great question. The financial confidence, right? The financial confidence, which accounts for the overall economic activity. And so it's a leading indicator of consumer spending. So, how confident are people, consumers, specifically a survey of 3,000 households, right? Which were asked about the current and future economic conditions of labor, business conditions, and their overall economic situation, right? So it's simply how consumers are feeling about the economy, how they're feeling about job availability, how they're feeling about prices, right? When they go out to purchase something, how they feel about their current financial situation, whether it's wages, right? Whether it's credit, like everything, like their ability to buy a home, their ability to get a loan, like all of that is involved. Um, and so we got that, and then we got Richmond Manufacturing Index, which this is just from the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, Maryland. I believe it's in Maryland. Could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. I haven't been to a lot of places in the United States. And so, yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. I know Richmond, if you've seen Coach Carter, Rich what? But anyways, let's see. And then, so this is a survey of about 75 manufacturers in the Richmond area. What's a manufacturer? Somebody that creates, that produces, that manufactures products, right? That creates products. And so this is a survey of 75 of those manufacturers and how they would rate business conditions, including shipments, new orders, and employment. So these two folders are important. Like they're not red folders, but any as Yeah, let me just say anything above a yellow folder, so orange and red, we typically put a high priority around. However, there's something like a trade balance, which we tend to see that be a very manipulative market session. Just historically, like you don't have to take my word for it. You can go, look at it for yourself. Just look on every trade balance day, right? Just go right to these trade balance days. Don't worry about this, what the actual or what the forecast in previous was. Just go to every single trade balance day and just watch price, right? Put it on the 15-minute, right? Just see how price was operating those days. But historically, we've seen it be very manipulative, um, and not very volatile. But that's what we got for today. I want to curious when President Trump is speaking because that will definitely impact um, the markets for sure. Depending on what he talks about, if he throws anything out there about Greenland, I was actually doing some research yesterday regarding Greenland, and they basically have until June 1st to come to a deal, which is a ways away. And so, leading up to June 1st, I think it will be important to pay attention to how that is developing. Just the brief research that I've done on Greenland, the it was funny because I typically watch YouTube videos in my car. I rarely listen to music when I'm driving. Kind of turn my vehicle into a mobile education system. So maybe that's something you can try today. But in the video, this was a video from 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So just think about that. Like, man, just I just find that fascinating because this video was about, it was literally titled, I'll read you the title because I don't want to misquote the title. I don't like misquoting stuff. Kind of bothers me. But it was called Why Everyone Suddenly Wants Greenland. This was 2 years ago that this video was put out. So then I just think about that. And this, I mean, Trump was in office at the time. He was not in office at the time, right? But basically, Greenland is a very key piece within the Arctic Circle because of the potential for increased trade routes, strategic positioning against our not our allies. What's the other word I'm looking for? Not enemies, but the other one. Maybe it is enemies, but just our opposition, strategic positioning against our opposition on both sides. So Greenland's pretty much like right in the center of, we got the U.S. on this side, and then we got Russia and China on the other side, right? China is the farthest away from Greenland, but it was really interesting because Greenland has no like major airports, and so their economy isn't the greatest right now. Um, but in that video, there was a young lady talking that was from Greenland, and she was actually talking about how powerful they could be, and how she's starting to realize how powerful they could be. But China had actually made a deal with Greenland and said that we will fund an airport for you guys to build, like, because that's apparently that's extremely costly to um, build out, airport infrastructure and commercial planes, which I imagine it would be. And so China said they would fund it, right? And their only condition was that the construction would need to take place by a Chinese company, right? And Green was like, all right, cool. They just want the funding for it, right? And so one of the questions came up is, okay, what if Greenland defaults on their debt, right? Because they owe China money now. And this is a theme that a lot of countries actually use, But specifically in this situation, this is a theme that China was known for. They've done something similar in somewhere. It was somewhere in Africa. They've done something similar where you when you owe a country money, you're pretty much in debt to them. They can kind of control you, simply put, right? Just to keep it super blunt. Um, and that was one of the worries of this China and Greenland deal, because if that were to happen, China could seize the property, and now they can move some of their military bases or whatever onto into Greenland, right? And now they have kind of that um, strategic military leverage against mainly the U.S., right? The U.S. and China are kind of have not kind of, but they've been the main players for the as long as my lifetime, at least. Um, and so once that deal came about, the U.S. stepped in. The U.S. stepped in and basically got that deal cut. Like they got the deal dismantled, just through their conversations with Greenland and Denmark. Denmark was also involved. I'm assuming Denmark is in. I'm just gonna look up where it's located. I'm assuming it's in Greenland because that's who the conversation. Yep, it is in Greenland. So yeah, they made a deal with Denmark to kill the China deal and receive funding from the U.S. So the U.S. stepped in, killed the China deal. That happened like another couple times that China did a deal with Greenland. They after that airplane deal, they ended up doing a deal on rare earth mineral mining, right? Which is it's gonna segue me into why this is so important in Greenland. They did a deal with rare earth mineral mining with Greenland, and then U.S. found that out and kind of got that deal cut as well. So China's been trying to get strategic leverage in Greenland ever since, as far as 2 years back. Um, and so, with the U.S. trying to take over Greenland, I mean, it's extremely important for us to capture that market. I'm not gonna say market, but come into collaboration with Greenland, strictly for the rare earth minerals. Like every day I see another video and I don't realize how important rare earth minerals are and how much of a monopoly China has over them. Like it's really insane. Like there are rare earth minerals, the metals created from rare earth minerals in literally everything that you could think of. Like I'm talking uh power seats in your cars to make your car go back and make your seat go up and down. There's some rare earth minerals contributed to that. Your windows, power windows in the car, rare earth minerals, AirPods, speakers, like literally everything. But then you can get into um the bigger stuff like fighter jets, missiles, right? Submarines. And you can start to see why it's a strategic leverage to be able to have your own supply and to be able to supply other countries. That's where we get into the good stuff, right? So I don't think the US just wants it to just supply what the US needs, right? I think the US also wants it to supply what the US needs, but also supply the other countries, right? Because everybody is so reliant on China. Everybody is so reliant on China. I'm gonna share that video in the chat. It was a good video. It was about 20 minutes long, but I think it's a good video to watch, and just like get familiar with this stuff and the importance of the stuff going on. But these are the things that we focus on, like these geopolitical moves and conversations. But it's super crucial right now for us to I'm not gonna lie, like we saw it. It was probably like what 4 to 5 months ago when China basically puts sanctions on the entire world on rare earth minerals. They put it on the world. And then that's when China and the US came to a deal. That's when we got the soybean deal from China. We got a pause. So man, so that those I don't know if they'd be called sanctions or export restrictions. Let's go with export restrictions because it says it better for me. Um, those export restrictions that China put on the world, it only got paused for 1 year. One only got paused for 1 year. So there will come to a point in time where those export conditions are back in play. And so basically, without knowing how he was thinking, Trump felt like we only need a year to remove some of our reliance on China for these rare earth minerals because of maybe in that current time he was already thinking about Greenland. We also did a deal with Australia, who has some access to rare earth minerals. We've done that. We did that a while ago. Um, and so yeah, super important, super fascinating. Like it's funny because as a kid, you're in science class, and I'm sure my boy Q knows all about the periodic table. It's just funny, like seeing when I watched that video, like you see the periodic table, and then there's like at the bottom of that periodic table, there's like 7 rare earth minerals in a row. And then there's 2 other ones like within the entire periodic table. So I think there's a total of 9 on the periodic table. I'm just like, well, that's fascinating. I wish I would have paid more attention in chemistry class. I wish I would be coming home and making these rare earth minerals. What the freak? But yeah, that's my spiel about Greenland. Something I'm definitely paying attention to, and the reason I brought it up initially was because if Trump speaks about that in his speech, even if he says, "Yeah, I had a good talk with the Greenland president, we were moving closer to a deal," like something like that, like that's going to impact the market. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for us to kind of pick out that verbiage and just stay in the loop of what's going on so that when something does happen on the charts, we're not like, all right, where did that come from? Take a step back and see the bigger picture, of course. Can I like this? Doesn't let me like. It's lame. Anyways, I'll probably be on here till about. I'll stay on till about 7, the latest. You know, got to get it. Leave some time to get ready for work, but we haven't got literally anything today. So you guys have just been listening to me talk, which I do love. I do love when people listen to me talk, especially when they can't respond. They just can't respond. Like all you can do is say something in the chat, and I don't even have to look at the chat. No, I'm just playing. I actually like to conversate with people about this stuff. But yeah, I'll be on to about 7 if it calls for it. Like I said, we're not getting anything right now. Price planning between these decision making levels. I'm only going to be trading gold. I think where am developing in my trading is understanding that the market is not going anywhere ever. And so I would trade gold, I would trade NQ, I've traded some silver, I've thought about trading Japan futures, yen futures and the Dow futures. Like I've thought about it's all right, let's just trade, gold's not moving, let's go to another one. But I prefer to really reach a level of mastery on my gold execution. I think it keeps me grounded, um, keeps my head focused. I know I've been watching gold price action, been understanding the fundamentals of gold for the last 3 years, as far as 3 years, understanding the fundamentals of gold. But then as long as I've been trading, which is about how old am I? 7 years. Um, it's been gold, like predominantly gold, like 85% gold, right? Um, and it's got the best of me up to this point, but we're turning the tide. We're turning the tide on gold. But yeah, I just so you'll only see me ever trade gold on here. Or if you're in our community, you'll only ever see me post stuff about gold, and then I just randomly get logged out. So that's cool. Um, but I haven't really traded much forex in a while, just because there just hasn't been a need for me to. And whenever I was trading multiple assets, I found myself forcing it out of boredom, and I don't want to be in that place, right? Like, you can only recognize the things that you recognize. That sounds like redundant, but like, only you know the emotions that you feel, the way you execute. Like, only you truly know if you're operating how you want to operate. Like, people from the outside can observe, right? And they can give their opinion, but they don't really know the truth, regardless of how obvious the observations may seem. You know what I'm saying? So, that was one thing I had to recognize as a trader, is like, okay, you're doing something wrong. And so what is it? Only you know what you're doing wrong. And that was one of the things I felt I was doing wrong. Is I was just forcing it, out of boredom, out of lack of patience, out of urgency. Like, I just want to make this money. I just want to make this money. Like, and it is not a formula that will produce consistent success, perpetual success. It may produce success for a trading day, a trading week, but when we're talking about perpetual, continuous success and continuous growth within that success, 100% not sustainable. I don't, it's just not. It's just not. Whenever you are spread too thin mentally, some people can do it. I commend them. I commend them. But so yeah, you'll always see me trading gold. I'm on Top Step right now. You'll see that I'm on this 50K trading combine. Um, I don't know what number of combine this is for me. I've gotten funded multiple times, and then what happens? I blow it. Why? Because the money's right there. Once you get funded, every dollar you make, you keep 50%. Right. So then it's like it's tangible, it's real, it's you know. And once again, that was something I had to notice. Okay, Marcus, you're great in the combines. You can pass the combines left and right. But when it's funding time, when it's time to make that money, something's different up here, right? And so I had to recognize those things. And so, um, that's awareness as a trader is highly important. It's highly important. Bruh. Yeah, hopefully people don't see that comment and like hear me say that and think, man, this guy doesn't like people. He doesn't like to hear people talk. No, it's not that. It's not that. It was a joke. Maybe. You will never know. Only I know the truth. Me and God, of course. I'm not gonna say only I know the truth. But yeah, man, I want to get some movement. But like, this is good. This is good actually. This is trading though. This is trading. What you guys see on social media, I'm not gonna say everything, but most of what you see. I mean, it's just highlights, right? Like, this is trading. When you're sitting here, you have nothing to do. There's no execution. I cannot execute anything until we break this level or until we break this level, right? I'm not touching the charts until one of those things happen, right? And so the level of patience that we need to have as traders, the level of focus, right? Like when I'm sitting here being patient, even though I'm talking to you guys about, multiple different things, I'm still focused on price action. I'm still focused on what I'm seeing on the charts. I'm still focused on just my levels, right? Like I'm focused. I'm patient, but I'm focused, right? We got this decision making level, and that's beautiful because if you guys have watched any of our videos in the past, or if you've ever been in our community, right? We have something called decision making levels, which is what most traders know if you've traded before as support and resistance. If you're a new trader, I'm going to recommend that you use this verbiage decision making levels because it simplified everything for me. I actually did a recent video on decision making levels titled How I Simplified Trading Down to 3 Levels. Um, but decision making levels basically give you a profit target, it gives you an area of invalidation, and it gives you an area where price is reacting off of, right? And so it's a 3 candle structure. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because if we look in this, where this box is, right, we have potential decision making levels. I say potential because if you look at the close of this candle right here, it's slightly lower than the open of this candle. So that would not be a definite or absolute decision making level. We also have what appears to be a decision making level here, but the close for this candle is higher than the open of this candle. So that would not be an absolute decision making level. However, once you get used to seeing this, and I tell people this all the time when it comes to trading, once you get used to seeing everything on my chart right now, like once you get used to just visually seeing this stuff over and over and over and over and over again, I'm talking thousands of times. Like Q and I have seen this stuff thousands of times. Like I think about it when I say that number, I'm like, man, thousands, that's a lot. But when you add up all the days that we've traded, all the sessions we've back tested, just and you add it up and really think about it, we could hit at least 1,000 for sure, right? And I say that because I can see this price action here, and I can see that this price action right here in this box is telling me there is a decision making level on another time frame, right? It could be on a lower time frame, it could be on a higher time frame. But what I know for sure is that this structure, this ranging structure with two um two not complete decision making levels, like they're very close to being that 3 candle structure that I'm looking for. They're very very close. The fact that those are there at this level, like it's telling me that on another time frame there's a decision making level there. And so because this is about, this is a handful of candles, right? This is 5:30 to, so it's about an hour worth of price action. I know I can see if I go to the 15-minute, like I'll have enough price action within an hour to view a 15-minute candle, right? Because that would be 4 15-minute candles. And you see right here, right? Then we have that right there. Boom, beautiful decision making level right there. Beautiful. So you know what I'm going to do now? This is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, do that, 15-minute decision making level. And now Now, just because I have this 15-minute decision making level here, this doesn't mean that I will enter once we break through this 15-minute decision making level. And so it doesn't mean that I'm going to enter when we break that decision making level. Why? Because we have a decision making level right above it. Okay. However, what it does help me do is manage my risk better. Right. And so hypothetically, let's say I did want to enter here. My stop loss would go below lead span B, which is my area of invalidation, right? Ideally, I would like for it to be at that decision making level, but I'm not risking 33 points ever on one trade, never happening. And so I would like for it to be right under that lead span B. We'll post another video on why, but I'm not going to go through our strategy right now. But I'm trading our VXT system. And then, take profit 3 to 1 typically is what I like to go for. Since we're at all-time highs, almost like all-time highs somewhere back here, there's no decision making level that I could take price to, right? And so now my risk is a lot better, but I'm most likely not going to take this trade, this one right here, because we would be running into this 15-minute decision making level. And time again, guys, when I've tried to trade through my decision making levels, one of my trading rules for myself is you don't trade through decision making levels, right? That's one of my rules. And every time that I have tried, I take an L. I learn a lesson. Good morning, baby. I've taken a lesson, and so the reason why this is important for me to see that 15-minute decision making level here is because I'm entering once we move past this decision making level, right? Once we move past this one, I'm taking a buy. Fundamental support buys. I don't have any news that I'm running into in the next, until about an hour. Just the market is favoring gold demand. Silver is climbing. Silver's at over $100. Like, the market's favoring metals. It's favoring safe haven demand. It's favoring something else besides the dollar. And we can talk about what's going on with the yen as well. That's creating some downward pressure on the dollar. But nonetheless, the fundamentals favor buys for gold. So I'm looking for buys. Will I take a sell? Potentially. I took a sell yesterday because we had that large area of imbalance, right? But like that imbalance has been filled, right? And so like I'm more in favor, because I want to trade in line with the fundamentals. I'm more in favor of gold buys, period, right? Until something else tells me different, right? So with this decision making level here, and me entering a trade when we cross this decision making level, now what this looks like is my stop loss goes there, and my entry point can come somewhere around here, right? And now I'm looking at 13 points as my stop loss, my area of invalidation, because I encourage you guys, like, if you've just started trading, if you've always been trading and you just can't figure it out, I encourage you guys to go watch one of our last videos regarding decision making levels, and start using that 3 candle structure, because it really simplified price action for me more than I could even explain. Like, to be completely honest, I'm not saying that from a bias or anything. It is so simple with those decision making levels, like how to create them. But then, like, you see the actual activity of price at those levels, and you're like, wow, like there's no way that it works that well. Like, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's perfect. Like, seriously. So yeah, yeah. I forgot the reason that I said that. I said that because I said that because, and I made this price moves up. Oh, yeah, I know I said it. If price moves up, right, and breaks this level, and then like price moves down and breaks this level, like there's no way that I would be sitting in this trade like, oh yeah, price is gonna go back up from this level. Could that happen? Absolutely. That definitely could happen. It's a game of probabilities. But the likelihood in terms of the probabilistic nature of price going all the way up, breaking that area, and then coming all the way back down and then going all the way back up, like it's just not super likely. Especially when we're talking about price action at these decision making levels. Period. Like this is just historical observations. Like this is not me just speaking on theories and just throwing stuff out there. This is stuff that we have observed over and over and over again. Typically, the worst that we'll get is something like this. Like if price breaks through this level and then comes down, like this is typically something we'll get. We would never, not gonna say never, because it is possible, but the likelihood of it doing something like, this, coming down here, you know what I'm saying? Like this is not super likely. So this is pretty much my buy setup right here. This is what I'm waiting for. Hopefully that happen. I can't believe it's already 7. Um, I feel like I just said that I would stay on 7 probably 30 minutes ago, and it's 8 minutes till. But this is what I'm waiting for on gold for a buy. If it happens, then it happens. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. I will not take any sales. I will not chase sales. The risk for me taking a sell is high right now because like I could run into this level here, these decision making levels. The area of imbalance has already been filled. And just the fundamentals just are not supporting me taking sells today. And I just don't need to get I don't need to take a trade just to take a trade. I realize I have done that in the past and I'm very aware of it today and knowing that I will not just take a trade to take a trade. It's just not happening. And if price does sell off and falls 400 points, then that'll be fine. I won't feel any type of way about it. Um, I'll just be waiting for, I'll look at the fundamentals and figure out, okay, why the heck did gold fall 400 points? But if nothing from a fundamental standpoint is telling me that that is why that was the result, that's what caused it, then I'll be waiting to buy it right back up. Right. And so we let the fundamentals lead and we let the indicators um confirm, and to put it simply, let the fundamentals lead what we should do, and then we let the our indicators, our VXT system, our Ichimoku cloud, our MACD confirm that okay, now it's time to act. So it's a very good balance, I would say. Like I said, there's times where I do trade um, when the fundamentals are saying buy, and I take sells because we have areas of imbalance, right? And that's a whole nother conversation. I'm sure we're gonna be live on Thursday again as well. I'm sure if you're on Thursday, Q will be on, and he will go over some areas of imbalance if they're there. I know he will. So I went over it briefly, and I didn't go over it. I just showed you that there was an area of imbalance very, very beginning that got filled yesterday. Um, but other than that, like I don't even see, even on some of these lower time frames, like I don't see any areas of inefficiencies. Um, Come on, mama. Girl over here dropping my laptop. Pick it up, please. I'm a nice dad. I'm not yelling at her. I'm a nice dad. I do yell at her sometimes. And I feel bad that I yelled at her. Don't Don't tell my lady. Can you bring it to daddy, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. Oh, mama. Thank you, baby.
Banana.
You want a banana?
Banana.
5 minutes. Okay, go lay down on the couch. Go lay down on the couch, mama. Few minutes left. Appreciate those of you that jumped on today and that will watch this recording. Like I said, we're live again Thursday, 6 a.m. Didn't get any action today, but I think we had some good conversation. I think those of you that watched this video, I gave you some things to go look at, to look into. You know, Greenland, definitely look into Greenland. Look into just rare earth minerals, because this isn't the first conversation that has been had about rare earth minerals. We got into a deal with the UK as well. I think that's who it was. I said Australia earlier, but I believe we did something with Australia. I could be incorrect. Let me just look that up real quick. Australia, US deal, rare earth. Yeah, October 2025. Yep, US and Australia. We made a partnership, involves up to $8.5 billion in potential projects, with initial joint investments of $1 billion each from US and Australia to fast track mining and processing. Okay, so that was a deal we made with Australia, and we also made a deal with the UK for rare earth minerals. So this isn't like a new conversation. This isn't a new play that we're making right now. This is something that's been strategic, right? And in that video I shared in the chat, there was a video that when Trump was in office, he was talking about Greenland, right? And so, like, I don't hold any political biases or perspectives or anything like that. I'm looking at everything economically, and so, you know, when I think about the decisions that, you know, Trump is making from Venezuela, from Greenland, you know, it's strictly, you know, from an economic and business sense, right? And I can understand that. When you think about one country, you know, your biggest opposition having a monopoly on something that is increasing in demand. You know, when we think about the monopoly China has on rare earths, like, if I was in business and I was the president of the United States, I would be looking for a way to strategically get an edge as well, period. Right. And so those rare earth minerals are super fascinating. Um, but I would encourage you guys to look up the deals that we've had in the past, look up the monopoly that China has on them, look at what rare earth minerals provide for us as consumers, provides for our military. 1 second, mama, I got you. I would go watch that video on decision making levels if you have not already. I'm telling you, decision making levels are a game changer. Because I don't mark up my chart every day. My decision making levels will sit there until they're not being used anymore. But yeah, we're approaching 7 o'clock right now, and my little girl is really wanting a banana. So I'm gonna make sure she gets that banana before she starts getting upset at me. She told me to go away yesterday. I was a little hurt, you know, impacted my morning just a little bit. You know, my almost 2-year-old telling me to go away. Can't say that I was prepared for that. Can't say that I was ready for that as a dad. I thought I was about 15 years away from her saying those words, but you know, life comes at you fast. But other than that, I was about to say EHM Trades. I used to be EHM Trades. I'm still EHM, but I don't have an EHM Trades profile. But Bloom co-founder, MDW, Marcus Williams, signing off here. Like I said, I'm still waiting on that buy. If it comes in, it comes in, and I'm taking it. If it doesn't, then I won't. And I'll see the market this evening. And I'll see you guys in the chat on Thursday when Q is going live on the YouTube sphere. Peace. and blessings. Hope you guys have a fantabulous, excellent day. Bye for now.